Yes, let us see verbatim section of 425 of Indian Penal Code about mischief. It says that whoever with intent to cause or knowing that he is likely to cause wrongful loss or damage to the public or to any person causes the destruction of any property or any such change in any property or in the situation thereof as destroys or diminishes its value or utility or affects in injuriously commits mischief. Explanation 1 say that it is not essential to the offence of mischief that the offender should intend to cause loss or damage to the owner of the property injured or destroyed. It is sufficient if he intends to cause or knows that he is likely to cause wrongful loss or damage to any person by injuring any property, whether it belongs to that person or not. Explanation 2 say that mischief may be committed by an act affecting property belonging to the person who commits the act or to that person and others jointly. There are 8 illustrations given under section 425. Its first illustration says that a person voluntarily burns valuable security belonging to Z, another person, intending to cause wrongful loss to Z. A has committed mischief. Section 426 is about the punishment for mischief. It says that whoever commits mischief shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 months or with fine or with both. तो 3 साल की सजा या फाइन या दोनों दिया जा सकता है मिसचीफ करने के लिए. Let us see scope of definition of mischief under 425. Mischief in fact corresponds to the offence known in English law as malicious injury to property, in which malice is presumed from the nature of the act committed and its illegality. Section 425 of the IPC is based on the principle enunciated in the maxim sic utre tuo ut alienum non ledas, which means use your own property so as not to injure your neighbors or others' property. Again, I am repeating the meaning of that Latin maxim is use your own property so as not to injure your neighbor's property. Mischief, like most of the offences created under the IPC, comprises of a mental element, mens rea, and a physical element, actus reus. The former, that is mens rea, lies in the doer's intent to cause or knowledge that he is likely to cause wrongful loss or damage to the public or to any person. The actus reus for mischief is the destruction of property or any change in its situation that destroys or diminishes its value or utility. Illustrations appended to section 425 make this aspect very clear. In illustrations A and D, the actus reus is destruction by burning or otherwise. In illustration B, the actus reus is by the change of the property by causing ice to be melted. Causing a ring to disappear is the wrongful act in illustration C. Casting away of a ship is the wrongful act in illustration E and F. Destruction by shooting a horse and causing damage to crops through cattle constitute the actus reus in illustration G and H respectively. So if you read all these 8 illustrations of section 425, you will be able to understand the actus reus of such crime. Another dimension of the offence to be noted is that it does not apply to acts which are negligent or accidental, but are limited to only those damages caused by acts which are done willfully or committed with knowledge. Thus, where the accused, while driving his bullock cart, pulled the bullock in the wrong direction thereby causing the pole of its yoke to strike against the floorboard of the complainant's carriage and cause damage, it was held that the accused was not guilty of mischief. Again, where the accused set fire to a heap of rubbish in his own field, which spread to the neighboring forest and burnt it, the accused was held not guilty of mischief. In the case of mischief done by straying cattle, mere neglect or carelessness on the part of the owner of the cattle to keep them from straying into the field of others is not sufficient to make the owner guilty of mischief. To warrant a conviction, it must be proved that he actually and willfully caused the cattle to enter, knowing that by doing so he was likely to cause damage. It cannot be a defense for the accused that his motive was to benefit himself and not to injure another. If he knew that he could only secure that benefit by causing wrongful loss or damage. Finally, with regard to the type of property covered by the offense, the provision covers both movable as also immovable property. However, with regard to the movable properties, when persons are charged with the graver offences of theft, robbery, extortion, criminal misappropriation or cheating, there is a little scope for the application of mischief. Many is quoted as having stated, thus one who has stolen a sheep cannot be charged with mischief if he has changed the sheep into a mutton by killing it. आपने किसी की भेड़ चुरा लिया और चुरा करके उसको मार करके मटन बना दिया, उसके मांस को आप बेच रहे हैं, यूज कर रहे हैं. सो इट डजंट मीन दैट दिस क्राइम इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू मिस्चीफ. वो चोरी ही रहेगी क्योंकि प्राइमरी ऑफेंस क्या था कि भेड़ चुरा लिया. सो इट इज अ थेफ्ट, नॉट द मिस्चीफ. एसेंशियल इंग्रेडिएंट्स ऑफ मिस्चीफ. The essential ingredient of the offense of mischief are: 1. First point, an intention or knowledge of likelihood to cause wrongful loss or damage to the public or any person. Okay, so it is the mens rea. क्या? An intention or knowledge of likelihood to cause wrongful loss or damage to a public or any person. Second, causing the destruction of some property or any change in it. आप प्रॉपर्टी को डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं दूसरे की, या उसमें कोई तब्दीली ले आते हैं, चेंज कर देते हैं. चेंज इन इट और इन इट्स सिचुएशन, इट इज द actus reus of mischief. And such change must destroy or diminish its value or utility or affect its injuriously effect of the change. So 3 things: mens rea of mischief, actus reus of mischief, and effect of the change are very important. No mischief can be committed if the act complained of is only an invasion of civil right, as the necessary element of criminality by way of intention or knowledge to cause the wrongful loss or damage does not prima facie exist. Thus, to constitute an offense under section 425, it has to be shown that the accused person intentionally or knowingly caused the destruction of any property or any such change in the property or in its situation thereof. When this is not prima facie shown, the offense cannot be made out. Such a case arose in Bihar State Electricity Board versus Nandkishore Tamakhuwala. All India Reporter 1986, Supreme Court. In this case, the Supreme Court considered a private complaint filed before the Subdivisional Judicial Magistrate Sahibganj under section 42B of the Electricity Act and under section 166 and 427 of IPC for failure of power supply to a flour mill on 4 days, thereby causing loss to the mill. The court stated that a perusal of the complaint itself showed clearly that there was no allegation that the acts of the alleged accused had caused destruction to the property or such change in the property or in its situation so as to bring it within the definition of mischief. Further, no acts were alleged against any of the accused persons which could bring any of their actions within the definition of mischief. Thus, there was no prima facie allegation being made in the complaint. Ultimately, the Supreme Court quashed the criminal complaint. We shall consider the scope of the essential ingredients of the offence of mischief, namely intention, knowledge, and causing damage. The first point is intention or knowledge to cause wrongful loss or damage. Underlying the offence of mischief is the intention to cause or knowingly cause the destruction or change of property. The previous discussion made it clear that mens rea is an essential concomitant to establishing the offence. Thus, mere fact that any loss or damage was caused to the property would not be sufficient cause to constitute mischief, unless the intention of the offender was to cause wrongful loss or wrongful damage to the person considered. Therefore, removal by a person of obstruction from property which is not his own but which he believed to be his right and thereby causes loss does not amount to mischief, as he had no requisite mens rea. Even if there is no intention but there is knowledge that a particular act will result in wrongful loss or damage, then such act will fall under the definition of mischief. This is illustrated in the case of an accused person who knew that by blocking the canal through which the complainant had a right to take water to his own land, wrongful loss would be caused to the complainant. Intention or knowledge are facts that can be gauged by the action of the accused person in the circumstances of each case. Thus, in Jambulingam Pillai versus Ponuswamy Pillai, All India Reporter 1939, Madras High Court, page number 400, where the accused believed in good faith that he had a right to do what he did. Even if in law he did not have that right, it was held that he lacked the intention or knowledge that he was likely to cause wrongful loss or damage. So, wrongful loss or damage is the next point to be discussed. The inclusion of the term damage along with the wrongful loss makes it clear that the legislature wanted to bring within the purview of the offence of mischief not just acts which result in wrongful loss, but also to cover instances of all types of damage by unlawful means, which are actuated, however, with the intention or knowledge to cause the same. The term damage must then involve invasion of a right, though it does not necessarily contemplate damage of destructive character, but it does require diminution of the value of the property caused by the invasion of the right, which to be punishable must have been contemplated by the person committing it at the time when the act was committed. The term wrongful loss or damage necessarily includes within its coverage that which is caused by unlawful means. Here it is interesting to note that the definition comprehends not just a situation when the property is destroyed. In many instances, the property may not be destroyed in such a way that it no longer can be used. There exists a possibility when the property has been changed in such a way that its use, value, or utility is changed. Such situations are also sought to be covered by the definition. This is illustrated in the case of Jageshwar Das versus Kailash Chandar. It is a very old case. ऑफ 1835, ये 1835 का केस है। इंडियन लॉ रिपोर्टर 12 कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट का है, कलकत्ता सुप्रीम कोर्ट का है, पुराना केस है। In this case, the complainant loaded his cart with his goods to shift his stall to another hut. At that time, the accused accosted him and pushed his cart down, thereby throwing the goods of the complainant. The trial court convicted him of wrongful restraint. However, the appellate court sentenced him for the offence of mischief because the act of the accused had diminished the value of the goods, and to that extent they were injuriously affected. Even if the accused were to have a right in any property, that does not entitle them to take law into their own hands and cause damage to the property of others. This issue came up in Arjun Gowda versus State of Odisha, in which the accused caused damage to the standing crops grown by the complainant on government land, which was in his cultivating possession. Thus, the act of the accused in damaging the crops with the intention and knowledge that he would be causing wrongful loss and or damage to the complainant was held to constitute the offence of mischief. The fact that the accused had right over the land was held not to make him entitled to commit the unlawful act of forcibly destroying the crops of the complainant. So, an act will not be a mischief merely because it was the result of negligence, for the definition itself requires mens rea as a necessary condition. The wrongful loss arising out of destruction contemplated by the section must be in reference to some other person and not to the owner himself who destroy or damage the property. However, when the complainant, who does not have any individual right over a property, wrongfully obstructs the actual owners from enjoying the property by putting up an obstruction over the property, then the act of the rightful owners in demolishing it will not amount to an offence. Next point is causing destruction of any property or any change in it. Now, the question of the value of damage was considered by Calcutta High Court, which stated that any value, even if it was trifling, may be sufficient to find a person guilty if the other ingredient of the offence are established. The term change used in section 425 means a physical change in composition or form of property. It contemplates injury to property from a physical cause. Another point is destroys or diminishes value or utility, etc. Therefore, destruction or diminution in value of the property in question is one of the essentials of mischief. It does not necessarily mean change in character or composition or form of the property. In a case of Vyomkesh Bhattacharya versus Lakshmi Narayan Datta, the Calcutta High Court had to consider a case in which the complainant alleged that the accused persons prevented the supply of filtered water to the complainant's house by using a wrench, valve key, and several other similar offences. The question was whether this would amount to change in the property such that it diminishes the value or utility thereof. The High Court elaborated on what constitutes change in a property such that it diminishes its value as follows. It is the case of Calcutta High Court in the year of 1978. The court observed that the expression change in property so as to destroy or diminish its value or utility does not necessarily mean a change in character, composition, or form. If something is done to the property contrary to its natural use and serviceability that destroy or diminishes its value or utility, it will amount to mischief. Thus, there is no need that the object must be materially changed to be covered by the definition. Similarly, the value is not to be considered as market value or utility. The section can only mean the value or utility which the object possesses prior to the change it was forced to undergo by the unlawful methods. Thus, in the instant case, the act of stopping water supply, in this instant case, the act of stopping water supply by turning off the valve brought about a diminution of the value of the pipeline, which existed mainly for supply of water. Thus, the stoppage of water was contrary to the usage it normally was put to. Hence, it amounted to mischief. Thus, where the value or utility of the property has been diminished or it has been destroyed, only in such circumstances can it be said that the offense of mischief has been established. Destruction or diminution in value and utility, however, must be immediate or proximate consequence of the alleged act of the accused. Now, another point is the aggravated forms of mischief. Aggravated forms of mischief are essentially based on the value of damage caused, the nature of property damaged, the method adopted to cause damage, and other criminal motives influencing the act. These aggravated forms are briefly discussed here below. Section 427 talks about mischief causing damage to the amount of 50 rupees. So 427 comes into play when damage caused by mischief amount to 50 or more, and then punishment is, it may be extended to 2 years or with both or fine. Okay. On the other hand, under section 428, mischief by killing or maiming animal of the value of 10 rupees. Whoever commits mischief by killing, poisoning, maiming or rendering useless any animal or animals of the value of 10 rupees or upward shall be punished with imprisonment of either term, which may extend to 2 years or with fine or both. This section intends to prevent cruelty to animals and consequent loss to the owner. It therefore becomes necessary to prove that the accused intended or had knowledge that he was likely to cause wrongful damage or loss for convicting him under section 428. Animal means any living creature other than a human being, and the term maiming used in this and the following one signifies injuries permanently affecting the use of a limb or other member of the body. Section 429 talks about the mischief by killing or maiming cattle etc. of any value or any animal of the value of 50 rupees. तो किसी जानवर का जो वैल्यू है वो 50 रुपए है या उससे अधिक है, तो उसके लिए पनिशमेंट है 5 साल या फाइन या दोनों. Section 429 are similar to 428 with a difference that it applies to mischief by killing or maiming etc. of the animals specified therein and animals of the value of rupees 50 or more. Section 430 talks about mischief by injury to works of irrigation or by wrongfully diverting water. Section 430 intends to prevent a diminution in supply of water for agriculture or for drinking purposes for human beings and individuals. For human beings and animals, and punishment is up to 5 years or with fine or with both. On the other hand, section 431 talks about mischief by injury to public road, bridge, river or channel. Okay, and it says that whoever commits mischief by doing any act which renders or which he knows to be likely to render any public road, bridge, navigable, river or navigable channel, natural or artificial, impossible or less safe for traveling or conveying property shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years or with fine or with both. So section 431 punishes mischievous injury to public road, bridge, river, channel. Like in other aggravated form of mischief, it is necessary to prove the requisite intention to cause mischief. 432 talks about the mischief by causing inundation or obstruction to public drainage attended with damage. This section deals with mischief to any public drainage by an act that causes or is likely to cause an obstruction or inundation resulting in an injury or damage, and punishment is extended up to 5 years or with fine or both. 433 talks about mischief by destroying, moving or rendering less useful a lighthouses or sea mark. This deals with the destruction of sea marks. जो समुद्र के किनारे जो है, जो कोस्टल एरिया रहते हैं वहाँ सी मार्क्स लगे होते हैं, लाइट हाउस, ताकि जो जहाज आ रहा है समुद्र की तरफ से कोस्ट लाइन की तरफ, तो जहाज रात में वो लाइट हाउस को देख के उसी डायरेक्शन में आते हैं. So section 433 deals with the destruction of sea marks. Sea marks are very important in navigation. Any tampering with or destruction of such marks would obviously lead to disastrous results. Therefore, punishment is up to 7 years or with fine or with both. 434 talks about mischief by destroying or moving etc. a landmark fixed by public authority. So whoever commits mischief by destroying or moving any landmark fixed by the authority of a public servant or by any act which renders such landmark less useful as such shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine or with both. It is complementary to section 433 and it deals with destruction or moving of land. मान लीजिए जिस सड़क के किनारे, हाईवे के किनारे वो लगे रहते हैं ना कि राजकोट 300 किलोमीटर, तो वो जो पिलर लगे हुए हैं सड़क के किनारे ऐसे पब्लिक प्लेस पे, और उन सबको वो डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं या उसका लिखा हुआ मिटा देते हैं. लैंडमार्क्स दैट इज फिक्स्ड बाय पब्लिक अथॉरिटी. तो रोड कंस्ट्रक्शन अथॉरिटी या बीआरओ है, बॉर्डर रोड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, जो बड़े बड़े नेशनल हाईवे बनाता है तो उसके किनारे लिखे रहते हैं, उसको कोई अगर डैमेज करता है, डिस्ट्रॉय करता है, कुछ मिटा देता है लिखा हुआ, then it causes problem. Therefore such section 434 is punishing such offender. Section 435 mischief by fire or explosive substance with intent to cause damage to amount of 100 or in case of agricultural produce 10 rupees. Whoever commits mischief by fire or any explosive substance intending to cause or knowing it to be likely that he will thereby cause damage to any property to the amount of 100 rupees or upwards, or where the property is agricultural produce 10 rupees or upwards, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. On the other hand, 436 talks about mischief by fire or explosive substance with intent to destroy house, and here punishment is extended up to 10 years. So intention or requisite knowledge that by their acts they would cause destruction to dwelling or religious place is an essential prerequisite for liability under section 436. The section covered destruction of 3 types of places: human dwelling, place of worship and place to keep property. तो कोई भी ऐसा ह्यूमन ड्वेलिंग है, ऐसा मकान है, घर है जो मनुष्य के रहने के लिए यूज किया जाता है, या जो पूजा का घर है, टेम्पल है, या जहाँ पे प्रॉपर्टी रखी जाती है. इफ सच प्रॉपर्टी इज डैमेज्ड बाय मिसचीफ, द पनिशमेंट इज अप टू 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Here section 436 is comparatively more important to understand. Section 437 talks about mischief with intent to destroy or make unsafe a decked vessel or one of 20 tons burden. Section 437 punishes mischief committed on board a ship or boat when plying in water. It is applicable to a decked vessel or a vessel of a burden of 20 tons or upwards. That is, vessel of substantial size and which are capable to carry passengers. These phrases are used in section 437 to exclude small crafts, canoes or boats from its purview. The term vessel as defined under section 448 of the Penal Code denotes anything made for the conveyance by water of human beings or of property. Section 439 talks about punishment for the mischief described in section 437 committed by fire or explosive substance. So section 438, which is an extension of the offense indicated in the preceding section, comes into play when the mischief described in section 437 is committed on board by fire or an explosive substance. It imposes higher punishment owing to the dangerous nature of the means used. यहाँ 10 साल की सजा है 438 में. Now section 439 talks about punishment for intentionally running vessel aground or ashore with intent to commit theft. This section, which provides punishment for an act akin to piracy, that is commission of acts of robbery and violence upon the sea, punishes for running a vessel aground or ashore with intent to commit theft or misappropriation of property contained therein, and punishment is up to 10 years and with fine. Last section is section 440, mischief committed after preparation made for causing death or hurt. So whoever commits mischief having made preparation for causing to any person death or hurt or wrongful restraint or fear of death or of hurt or of wrongful restraint shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. So section 440 deals with an aggravated form of mischief. It deals with an act of mischief committed after having made preparations for causing death, hurt or wrongful restraint or fear of death, hurt or wrongful restraint to any human being. So punishment is up to 5 years and also be liable to fine. So section 425 to 440 talks about offense of mischief under Indian Penal Code. Section 425 defines what is mischief. 427 talks about the punishment for simple mischief, and rest of the sections are devoted for the aggravated form of the offense of mischief. So I think this lecture will be fruitful for you to understand this offense of mischief. Thank you very much.